Hi everyone, and welcome to Squirrel Pie Productions, my podcast about knitting, spinning, and sewing. My name is Tommi. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Dynamite Trujillo. Welcome to episode 68 of my podcast. Thank you so much for being here. If you are a new viewer, welcome. And if you are a returning viewer, a big welcome back. Today is a bright and sunny and cold Tuesday in February here on the Northern California coast where I am coming to you from. We have a Ravelry group for this podcast, and that's where you'll find show notes for this episode and all previous episodes. It's where you'll find giveaway stuff, knit along stuff, and all kinds of other fun stuff. So go check it out and join it if you have not yet. We do have a couple of things going on right now, the first of which is a giveaway that I did last episode. And I have drawn a winner, so I'm going to talk about that right now. So I did a giveaway for our 2-year anniversary. I have been podcasting for 2 years, and I was so excited about it, and by the fact that we hit 4,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel, that I did a giveaway. And the winner of this giveaway, I already know who it is going to win a skein of Moonstone Dyeworks yarn. That is my hand-dyed yarn company. This is the Bubbles colorway. And also, they will win my night shift shawl. This is a shawl that I knit myself. It is a pattern by Andrea Mowry, and it is knit out of my hand-spun yarn. It is a big, giant, triangular shawl, and I love it, but I do not want it, so I am giving it away to you, winner. I know who you are. You don't know who you are yet. And I cannot be more excited. I'm so excited to be able to share this thing with somebody. I put up a Ravelry thread in the Squirrel Pie Productions Ravelry group, and it asked for you to answer the prompt of tell me something interesting about yourself. And I tend to do prompts like that, like really similar to that, because I like hearing about you guys. I like knowing who you are. I like getting to know you a little bit better, and I feel like that's a really good way to do it. And I really like it when people encourage other people to kind of say nice things about themselves, because I think that's kind of important. And I really loved reading through that thread. You guys are amazing and interesting people. So the winner of the shawl and the yarn is post number 9, who is Sincerely Ginger. Congratulations, Sincerely Ginger. You have won, and I would love it if you messaged me to tell me your mailing address so that I can get your prize out to you. Yay! Congratulations, and thank you so much to everybody who participated. Thank you for watching and for subscribing and for being with me while I've been doing this podcast. Been doing it for 2 years, and I'm so happy about it. Every episode I record just makes me happy. It's fun. It's so much fun. And I just really like hanging out with you guys. I like getting to know you, and I love doing it. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, moving on. The next thing that I am taking part in is a make-along on Instagram, and it is the New to You Make-Along, hashtag newtoyoumal. And this is where if you want to participate, you try a new technique, a new skill, a new craft, post about it on Instagram. You do not have to finish anything, you just have to try new stuff and participate and follow along on the hashtag. Post on Instagram, you will be entered to win a really huge grand prize. I am co-hosting this knit along with a bunch of other people. And the grand prize winner will be chosen at random from the hashtag on Instagram, and they will get one prize donated from every co-host of the make-along. It's going to be a huge prize package. Additionally, each co-host is going to pick one additional winner to gift something to, I will be randomly choosing from the hashtag and gifting you a Ravelry pattern of your choice. This make-along runs through until February 14th, so you have some time. Like I said, you don't have to complete anything. You just gotta try something new. It can be any craft. So post about it on Instagram. Check out the other hashtag posts. You guys are trying some really cool things. So thank you for participating in that if you have. I still haven't tried anything new. I want to. We'll see if I do. I got a couple weeks. I got a week. I got a week left. I have an FO. Oh, first I am wearing my Ramona cardigan, which is a pattern by the Brown Stitch, who is Elizabeth Smith, I think. It's gonna be down here. And this was knit out of Barrett Wool Co. Home, which is their worsted weight, worsted spun base. And this is a sweater quantity of yarn that I purchased at Stitches West 2018. And I love it. It's a cardigan. I like it. That reminds me, I am going to Stitches West 2019, which is coming up at the end of this month. I will be in Santa Clara from Friday night, I think, until Sunday morning. So pretty much I'm going to be at Stitches West at the Santa Clara Convention Center. I'm hoping all day on Saturday. I don't think I have anything else to do. I mean, I know I don't have anything else to do. I'm going for this and that's it. So I'll be there all day on Saturday. If you're gonna be there, I hope I run into you. If you see me at the vendor market, which I think is gonna be where I'm spending most of my time, I'm not taking any classes or anything, and you want to say hi, please, please, please do. I wanna say hi, I wanna meet you. And yeah. Is that it about that? I have used almost all of my yarn from Stitches West 2018. Right? I don't know what my plans are for going this year. The market at Stitches West is pretty good. It's really big. And so I'm definitely gonna hopefully buy some yarn. My plan is to go in with an idea of how much yarn I want to buy if I find something I like. So I typically like to buy sweaters quantities of non-like, you know, if I see like single skein, sock yarn kind of stuff, yeah, I'll buy that. But I don't do that often. Most of the time I'm looking for sweaters quantities. But oftentimes I know I want a sweaters quantity of something, and so I'll just kind of guess at it. And like with this, I bought I think 4 skeins of it, and there were sweaters I wanted to make more than this sweater, honestly, but I didn't have enough yarn. Also, the other sweaters quantity that I got at Stitches last year, I made into a sweater, but I wish I had more because I wanted to make it longer, but I didn't. So I've typically kind of just guessed at what I might need. So this year what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down, I'm going to go on Ravelry. I'm going to find some sweater patterns that I think I might want to knit, just to get ideas. And I'm going to find some in a range of different gauges and yarn weights and write down for myself. If I see worsted weight yarn, this is how much yardage I want to make sure I buy. And I'm going to go through and do that with every weight of yarn, so that I have a little cheat sheet, so that I'm not standing in someone's booth frantically on Ravelry on my phone, trying to like find an example pattern of something I might want to knit out of this yarn to see how much yardage I need to buy. So I'm going to do that pretty soon. I think that's going to be a really good idea, and I think that's going to help me out a lot. Anyway, I got sidetracked. I'm going to Stitches. I am so excited. I'm going by myself, which I have done in the past. I've gone quite a few times by myself and just like got in a room by myself somewhere and just gone to the market. And that's what I'm gonna do. I got an Airbnb. I hope to do a little chilling out and maybe a little going out. So we'll see how it goes. On to FOs. I finished my sparkling cider hat by Kristen Lair, who is Wool and Vine, and here it is. It is very dark and it has stuff on it because I've been wearing it. but there's a close-up of the cable pattern. So the sparkling cider hat is a hat that comes in 2 sizes. I made the smaller size, and it has a really cool cable motif over the whole thing. It was really fun to knit. I used Handmaiden fine silk. Hold on. Handmaiden fine yarn, Casbah fine silk, which is 75 merino, 15 silk, 10% cashmere. And it's in this really deep purple colorway. I've mentioned this yarn as I've been knitting with it. It's nice. It's really nice. It feels great. It's got the silk. It's got the cashmere. It's very soft. And I like it okay. I like the finished object quite a bit. I didn't quite like working with it just because I don't typically like working with the luxury yarns. I don't know. Just me. I don't know. but I really love the hat. The pattern calls for holding a fingering weight yarn together with a lace weight mohair yarn, which I did not do. I have not worked with that lace weight mohair type of yarn yet. Well, I haven't worked with it. I don't know if I ever will. I tend to think that I wouldn't like it, but I'm not sure. I haven't tried it. Just because I don't like flyaways, and I see that stuff and I just see all of that fluffiness going up my nose and in my eyes and in my mouth, and I'm like, nah. So I just did a fingering weight yarn, plain and straight up fingering weight yarn. And I also excluded the beads that are called for in the pattern. And it turned out great. The gauge is wonderful, and I think it looks great without the beads. Beads are a really nice touch for this hat, and I would have used beads if I had beads that I thought would go with this yarn. I have 2 colors of beads just lying around. I have some pale pink ones and some really beautiful like iridescent green ones, or teal kind of, and I just didn't think either of them would go with this, so I omitted them. But I do think it would look really good with beads. So anyway, here's what it looks like on my head. And I like it. I have been wearing this thing quite a bit lately. And that's really good for me because I don't often wear hats. I don't often wear a variety of different hats. I'm an earmuff kind of girl, but I have been wanting to start wearing hats more often out on walks and stuff like that. And I have been. I've been wearing this hat on almost every walk that I've been on in this past week or so, whenever I finished it. And I really, really like it. It fits great. And I like it. So this is the Sparkling Cider Hat by Kristen of Woolen Vine. Check it out. It was a really quick knit. It was really easy. The cables are really simple and really pretty easy to execute. I talked about this last week, I think. I kind of attempted cabling without a cable needle. I think this would be a really good pattern to do that with because the cables are so simple. But I attempted it. I did not do it just because of my own lack of wanting to learn something new. I'm the worst co-host for a new to you make-along. Anyway, I do hope one day to learn how to cable without a cable needle. It's such a cool technique. I just didn't. I didn't want to do the practice, you know. Yeah. Anyway, I love my new hat. I love it so much. Check it out, and yeah, moving on to whips. My first work in progress is in an emerald fibers bag. In my emerald fibers bag is my cat sandwich fiber socks. And I have got 1 sock completed. Boom. Here's the yarn I'm using. This is cat sandwich fibers in the trusty base, which I think is 75/25. And it's in the Saltwater Taffy 2.0 colorway. This is another yarn that I bought at Stitches last year. Here is the adorable tag. And so I'm doing these socks a little differently than I have done socks in the past for myself. Typically, I used to use a 56 stitch count with a size US 1 needle, fingering weight yarn. And I have been growing less and less satisfied with those socks. I have been wanting to experiment with a tighter gauge. And so for these socks, I did a size US 0 needle and went up to a 64 stitch count, top down. And I love the way it fits. I love it, I love it, I love it. I'm really happy I did that. I think this is gonna be, I think it's gonna work really well for me from here on out. So I'm gonna continue to try it with future socks. I kept everything else the same. So I did a German twisted cast on and a 2x2 ribbed cuff, and it's just plain stockinette. And I've got a heel flap and gusset and my same toe that I always do, where it's like a rounded toe, cut it short instead of going to a point and catenary it at the end. And I made the leg pretty long. I typically like a pretty long leg on my socks, and usually I end up with a foot and a leg length that is pretty much the same if you fold it right at the heel. I think this sock is so pretty. Oh, I love it. So here's where I am on the second one. I have just gotten past the cuff. I'm now onto the stockinette, and the needles that I'm using are my Chiaogu Mini Twist Interchangeables, which are my favorite sock needles these days. And I'm super in love with this. So that's it. That's it for that. I'm gonna try to not work on this anymore until Stitches. Well, I don't know, that's probably stupid. If I don't work on this anymore until Stitches, then this will be my Stitches project, because if I'm gonna be hanging out with people at Stitches, I'm gonna need some plain stockinette. I am not a person that can hang out with people and knit on something any more complicated, because I will mess up. I definitely will mess up. Even if it's just like increasing or decreasing, or if it's like ribbing, I will guarantee mess up. I am considering bringing a new sock project and doing one of those things where you just knit a tube and then you do afterthought everything. That way I can just take cake and yarn and just knit a tube and not even have to worry about heels or toes or anything like that, or measuring, because I always, try on my socks as I knit them to like see when I need to do whatever. So I think I might do that. I don't know. Should I? What do you think? Okay. For my next whip, I have got a new cast on. What? I know. In my Lost and Found project bag, I have got my second to last skein of yarn that I got at Stitches from last year. I'm like really making a mad dash to use up all my stash from last year before I bring in new stash. I do not keep a very big stash, and it's pretty much because I don't know how to knit from my stash. I will buy something just for stashing sake, and it will sit in my stash forever because I will never know how to use it. So that's why I typically buy things with intent only. But I'm doing it. After this, I have one more skein left from last year. And I do want to keep that. It's my Knox Yarn Co. yarn, and I want to save that for something really good. This is O-Wool, and I bought this at the Starlight Knitting Society booth. Is that what they're called? It's a yarn shop in either Oregon or Washington. They were a really, really cool booth. Their booth last year was one of my favorites. They had some really great yarn, and I loved their logo. That's what drew me in. And I had never heard of them before, and it turns out they're a yarn shop somewhere on the Pacific Northwest. Anyway. This is O-Wool, O-Wash worsted in the Appalachian Stone colorway. Appalachian Stone colorway. I don't know how I'm supposed to say it. I'm California. There's the tag. The other yarn that I'm using for this project that I haven't even told you what it is yet. I'm going with the yarn first. This is some handspun. I love knitting with my handspun, you guys. So this is Into the World. This was Into the World Fiber English Shetland wool in the Andraste colorway. It came out to be 130 grams, 260 yards, 10 to 12 wraps per inch. Whatever that means. So I am using these two yarns in a DK weight pattern. I am making the DK Brioche Bandana Cowl by Lavagna Patricelli. Right? Sorry, by Lavagna Patricella. And here it is so far. Does this seem like it's like totally out of my comfort zone or what? Actually, it like matches exactly with my cardigan. Actually, when I bought the yarn for this cardigan, I thought it was like a straight up gray verging on purple. When I bought this yarn, I thought it was gray verging on purple. Lighting in big arena halls or big convention halls for big marketplaces can be deceptive because both of these are like a blue-gray. But that being said, this is really out of my comfort zone when it comes to color. I don't typically knit with blue. I'm not a blue person. I mean, look at my background. It's blue-gray too. That wall was like that when I bought the house, though. I would not have chosen to paint it that color. I love gray, but blue-gray is not my favorite kind of gray. But this is all kinds of blue and all kinds of gray. And then here's the other side. So I'm back on the brioche train, you guys, and I love it. I was one of those people that got super obsessed with brioche like a year ago, and I was unashamed about it. And I haven't knit brioche since, like my first two projects. And so I thought it'd be fun to give it a go again, and I instantly remembered how to do it, and I instantly fell back in love with it, and I'm having so much fun with this. When it comes to brioche, I know I really enjoy two-color brioche without any increases or decreases. The increases and decreases in brioche, like, really get me. Like, I cannot memorize them for the life of me. But there are increases and decreases in this pattern once you get to the actual triangle bandana part, but that's okay. Right now it's just straight up and down, two-color brioche in the round, and I'm just loving it. I am knitting these on my brand new 3.5-inch tip Licca interchangeable needles. I love these. They're tiny, and I love them. And this is the US size 6. And so both of these, this is a worsted weight yarn. This handspun I'd call it like a worsted. Lavanya Patricella has this brioche bandana cowl she sells the pattern in different weights of yarn. So I think it goes from a fingering up to a bulky, I think. And there's a worsted weight version, but I got the DK weight version because I looked at the needle sizes and I thought a needle size in between what she calls for was gonna work for me for this yarn. So this pattern calls for a 5, I'm using a 6. The worsted one called for something bigger, maybe an 8, maybe a 9. And the yarn she calls for in the worsted pattern is actually an Aran, and I knew this was a lot smaller than an Aran. So I went with the DK version, and they're all sold separately, so. And it's great, I love it. It's very low contrast with these two yarns. And this is one of my hand spuns that I honestly didn't know when I ever was going to get to. It's really beautiful, but the colors just aren't really my favorite. And the fiber came to me in a fiber club. I used to be a member of the Into the World Fiber Club, so I'd get like a surprise shipment of fiber every month, I think. And I loved it, but I don't know. Meh. But I think I'm gonna like it. I don't dislike blue. I don't dislike wearing blue. I just never gravitate towards it. And the handspun is an English Shetland. It's non-superwash and it's beautiful. It's a 2-ply. I feel like I did this kind of slap-dashedly in the middle of a worsted and a woolen spun kind of yarn. It was, I can't remember if it was top. I think it was probably top, if I had to guess at the preparation. But what I mean by halfway between worsted and woolen spun is I think I kind of alternated with short forward drafting, short backward drafting, and like a modified long draw. Modified long draw kind of drafting technique. So that's how sloppy I spin. And that's, I think, what this is. But it is very puffy and it feels really airy and light and woolly. So there we go. Back on brioche, you guys. Back on brioche in blues. Who knew? Who knew? Okay. I have one more project that I've been working on. And it's in my fat squirrel bag. This is my Guthrie. It is my Guthrie by Caitlin Hunter. I am nicknaming it Steeking Guthrie because I am going to steek it. Okay. Let's start with the yarn. I am using Plotulopi, which is an unspun Icelandic wool. And I'm using a pink and a black. And I love them together. Now, I think I'm gonna have a lot of this yarn left over. Because check it out. This is still my first plate of each of these yarns. I'm almost out of the black and I have this much left of the pink. This is my first plate. And I am almost done with the body. That's kind of crazy. Now, the pattern calls for a sport or DK weight yarn. This yarn is hard to specify because it can be knit at quite a lot of gauges depending on how you use it. And the yardage versus the weight isn't necessarily going to coincide with like the hand-dyed yarns that she uses because it's a very light weight yarn. So you know how like Loft, like Brooklyn tweed yarns have a lot of yardages, lots of yardage to the weight. That's because the yarn itself is light. It's lighter than a lot of the other more dense yarns. This is kind of like that. It's very light. So the yardage, I think that's probably part of it. I did buy what the pattern called for in terms of yardage because I wasn't sure. And I overbought because I knew I wanted to make it longer than called for in both the body and the sleeves. And I was steeking it, so I was adding a button band. So I have 2 more plates of the pink and 3 more plates of the black. And I'm almost done with the body, and I just have to do the sleeves and the button band. So, I don't know. I think I'm gonna have a lot of yarn left over. So let's talk about this thing. I am super into it. I have been working like a madwoman on it because I really, really, really want to get this thing done. I don't want to say I'm sick of working on it because I'm not, but I'm a little sick of working on it. I kind of want to move on to something else. So this is the front. Like I said, it is a pullover pattern. I have added a steek panel, and that's where I'm going to cut it and make it into a cardigan. And I didn't really do much heavy thinking or modifying to add that steek panel. I figured out that the beginning of round was in the back, and then I counted halfway and found the front, and then added 5 stitches and put stitch markers on either side of those extra 5 stitches, and that's it. Really easy so far, and it's been working out great. It's so much fun. This is an unusual project for me because it's all over color work, and I just haven't really done much of this kind of stuff in something as large as a garment, and I really love it. It's so fun to work on. The yarn is very delicate and fragile. I haven't had much of an issue with that, like with the yarn breaking or anything, but it is a little, it does take some paying attention to in terms of yarn management when I'm working on it, because I do have to pay attention to how gently I am handling my project. And it can get a little, you know, I'm a little bit of a reckless person, so that, you know. I have gotten done with, this is the yoke. This flag section here happens under the armhole separation. And then we've got these feather things and these circles. And now the last motif are these arrows. They're like rewind and fast forward arrows. And she calls for you to do 4 of these rows, and then you're done with the body. But if you want to lengthen the body, what she says to do in the pattern is to just repeat these rows until you've got it as long as you want. So that's what I'll be doing. I've got 1 more repeat to go before I'm in body lengthening territory. So I don't know how long I'll go. We'll see. And I just love it. I love the fabric this is making. This wool is not the softest in the world. It's a little bit scratchy. I'm totally okay with that. That doesn't bother me. And so I'll finish the body. I'll do the ribbing in black. I'm going to pick up the sleeves. I really would like to try knitting sleeves on 12-inch circulars rather than magic loop, which is how I otherwise would do it. And I just purchased a 12-inch pair of needles in a US size 5 from Licka. These are my Lickas from my 6-inch interchangeable set, or is it 5-inch? I think it's 5-inch. So I purchased a fixed circular 12-inch needle in this same size so that I can try doing the sleeves on those. I've never done that before with the 12-inch circulars for sleeves, but I've heard good things about it. I've heard a lot of people talk about how it makes sleeves a lot better for them. And I figured it would be a good thing to try it on an all-over colorwork sleeve so that I didn't have to mess with magic loop. I should say that I love magic loop, but it just seems like it might be a little simpler, a little easier. And also I have heard of people's gauges being different on straight up circular versus magic loop circular. That's not something I would ever have thought of, but I've heard other people have issues with that, so I don't know, thought I'd try it. So those are coming in the mail, and I think they're going to be here on Thursday. I'll let you know how that goes. But I love this thing. I love that it's hot pink and black, and I cannot wait to wear it. To me, it feels very 80s and early 90s, and quite of my childhood. That's all I got for this thing. It's massive, it's beautiful. It is so much color work, I love it. Something that I did start doing with this thing is I learned how to catch my floats with my left hand, if that makes sense. So I knit color work with one strand of yarn in each hand. And I'm typically a thrower. And I knit the other color continentally. Now, typically what I do is the color with the most stitches in a row, on that row, I'll knit with my right hand so that I can catch the floats, because I never learned how to catch floats continentally. So that means that all the rows on here are switched. Like, some of these rows I did with the pink in my left hand, and some of the rows I did with the black in my left hand. And that means that the dominant color is different throughout this cardigan. That does not bother me. I totally don't care. I'm not a perfectionist, for one, and I'm not a stickler for technical things like that. I'm just not. I don't know if you'll really be able to tell, but I can see it in real life. So in this section here, I held the pink yarn in my left hand for continental. So it pops out a little more. It's a little looser. I think that's why that happens. In this section, I did the opposite. So the black kind of pops a little more. And that's because whatever hand I needed to do my catching with, I put in my right hand. I finally just looked it up and figured out how to catch yarn in my left hand, because there was one of these rows where both colors had stitches across 5 or more stitches in a row of each color. So I had to do it with both hands in one row. So I figured it out and I learned, and I feel like my life is a little bit better for that. Okay, that's it. Those are all my works in progress. That is all my knitting. I am going to move on to shop update, because I have a pretty dang big shop update. This is for Moonstone Dyeworks, which is at moonstonedyeworks.com, and you can find a link for that in the information box below. And I have moved my shop to its own website. I completely revamped the website. I am moving away from Etsy. Etsy has been really good to me. It's what I've used this whole time that I've been selling yarn, but I just kind of felt that it was time for me to move on, take the next step, consolidate everything. So I completely redid my website, and I moved the shop to the website. So I am so super excited about that. Check it out if you can. I also have finally started doing the mailing list, which you can sign up for on my website. So I've got a newsletter that'll go out every time I do a shop update. And let me show you the yarn that I've got in the shop right now. So I kind of died my butt off leading up to this shop opening, and this is what I've got. Up in the shop right now, you will find Gemini. All of these yarns are going to be across like a bunch of different bases. So you can find out more about my bases on the website under the bases tab. So this is Gemini. This came out initially as part of my Winter Circle mini skein set, and now it is a regular colorway because I love it so much. We have got Stardust, which is an old favorite of mine. We have got Imbibe, which originally came out in my birthday mini skein set last year. And this one's now regular. Chiffon. Also a part of the birthday mini skein set. Crescent Moon. This one's new. This is called Venus. And Wild Honey. A beautiful gold tonal that I'm super happy with. So that's it. That's everything I've been dyeing these past few weeks. It's all available in the shop right now. Go check it out if you're interested. And if you do, check it out. Go to the website, see what it's all about, sign up for the mailing list. Purchase some yarn if you want. I express my deepest gratitude. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, that's it about the shop. I'm pretty excited about it. It was a lot of work and learning getting this website up. I don't know anything about code, but I can tell you I can follow instructions on how to add code to a website and do things. I don't know how it works, but I can do it. Okay, that is where I'm going to leave you today. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I hope you will join us in the New to You make-along. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you are going to Stitches West this year, let me know. Come say hi. Let's hang out. I hope you have a wonderful day. Hope your winter is going well. I hope you're not too cold or too hot wherever you are. And if you liked the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up or subscribe if you would like. Comment below. Tell me how you're doing, what you're working on. Go check out the website if you feel so inclined. I would much appreciate it. And have fun and stay awesome. Bye.